Good evening. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thank you for joining us here for News 3 Live at 6. I'm Dana Wagner. LaToya has the night off. So tonight, a focus on domestic violence murders in our community. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and those crimes continue to be an issue right here in Southern Nevada. Metro statistics show nearly 14,000 reports of domestic violence this year. That's actually down about 2% from the same time last year. But some nonprofits here in town suspect the number is even higher. That's likely due to some undocumented immigrants who may not want to report domestic violence because of the current political climate. Metro Police report domestic violence as the leading cause of murder in their jurisdiction this year. Kristen Drummond joins us live outside of Metro headquarters with the concerns and how the department aims to address this issue.
Well, Dana, domestic violence homicides are on the rise. Now, when you're looking at the statistics, especially when you're looking at the overall murders, right now, Metro Police are reporting about 20 less murders than at the same time last year, but they've investigated the exact same amount of domestic homicide murders at the same time compared to the same time last year. And I was able to speak with a woman who tells me she could have been one of those statistics, but she was fortunate enough to get out years ago.
I'm really honored to be here.
Not only to sit down, but for Christine Wynn to still be alive.
I almost lost my life. I could tell in his eyes that if I didn't get out that night, I was going to die.
A survivor of domestic violence and mother of 6, she left her situation 14 years ago, walking away after a violent attack by the father of her children. The same man, she says, hit her for years and caused them to lose their unborn child.
He was punching me a lot in my stomach, kicking me, telling me he didn't want to have any more children with me. We ended up losing that child 10 weeks, and then I did also suffer permanent damage by having a hysterectomy.
Did you ever file a report with Metro Police about the domestic violence?
There was a couple incidences. I was terrified to call the police because of always the reprimands of him saying he was going to come out and I would pay for it.
Eventually, finding the strength to leave, but she knows not all escape and some die at the hands of their abuser. Metro Police reporting 16 of the 61 murders so far this year are related to domestic violence as of October 5th, making it the leading cause of people killed according to the data. While murders overall are down 31% from last year, 61 compared to 88 at the same time, the number of domestic violence murders continue to rise.
Guns is the #1 killer of survivors.
Liz Ortenberger with Safe Nest, a nonprofit supporting survivors of sexual and domestic violence. She says Nevada consistently ranks among the top states with high rates of domestic violence-related homicides.
Since 1996, it's been tracked, DV homicides. We've always been one of the most dangerous places in the country.
The Nevada Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence reports 42 domestic violence-related murders in Clark County last year, down from the 56 reported in 2023. But with domestic violence-related murders rising in Metro's jurisdiction as overall murders fall, it raises concerns.
Domestic violence is driving a lot of our homicide numbers as we sit here today.
An issue Sheriff Kevin McMahill aims to address with training. The department opening the Joint Emergency Training Institute in 2024, a 180,000 square foot campus in Northeast Las Vegas with a tactical training village, which the department unveiled last month. It replicates real-world scenarios. That includes responding to domestic violence calls.
My intent behind these buildings is to continue to make our community more safe by having better trained officers out there in the field that have already gone through these types of scenarios that ended in officer-involved shootings or ended in domestic violence that somebody ended up losing their life, to find ways to intervene that we've never been able to do before.
Helping someone stay alive. But Wynn encourages survivors to act now, whether it's filing a report or seeking help at nonprofits like Safe Nest.
I was there and hopeless and felt like trapped, and I couldn't get out either.
What do you say to those who may watch this, who haven't come forward to report? What would you say to them?
I would say to them that there is an entire community ready to help them.
Wynn taking that step to freedom, leading her to a new life without fear.
And I'm so grateful for me and my children and our family, and our lives now are thriving, and I couldn't imagine how it would be now if I was still there.
Now, data shows 84% of the domestic violence murders last year involved a gun. Dana?
Hey, Kristen, so when we talk about domestic violence, what's generally the relationship between the suspect and the victim?
All right, so data is showing us that it's typically a current partner, but when you're looking at data that's been provided by the Nevada Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence, there is a category under current partner that says unspecified. That's actually second. And what that means, or what it could mean, is either a family member or someone who has a relationship with the victim. Dana?
Makes sense. Okay, Kristen, thank you. And we're getting new numbers, too, out of the homicide situation in North Las Vegas over the last 5 years. How many of them were related to domestic violence? Of the 29 homicides in 2021, 4 related to domestic violence. In 2022, 2 out of the 21 related to domestic violence. That number went up the next 2 years, each with 25 homicides. There were 8 in 2023 and 10 in 2024 that involved domestic violence. So far this year, there have been 19 homicides where 4 were related to domestic violence. We reached out to Henderson for their data, but we have not yet heard back. Safe Nest here in our community is working to open a first-of-its-kind centralized hub for victims of domestic and sexual violence. It is called One Safe Place. The new space plans to provide more than 500 individual survivor-focused services, including legal help, counseling, and housing services. SafeNest says it will be ready to open early next year. And the majority of women in America are strangled by an abuser before they're murdered when this happens. This is according to Casey Gwynn, the president for Alliance Hope International. The worldwide organization educates about domestic violence and runs a variety of programs to support victims. He says strangulation has been identified as the most lethal form of violence.
Men who strangle women are the most likely to kill women in the United States of America. So we do a lot of training about how to intervene and prosecute men who strangle or suffocate women in domestic and sexual violence contexts.
Gwynn visited Las Vegas for 2 days in July to host a training on handling strangulation assaults with SafeNest. Liz Ortenberger says a person is 750% more likely to be murdered than someone else who is also being abused but not strangled.